I got no clue how I'm gonna start this, so I'm gonna just start it. I guess for those of you who don't know what I'm about that music life, boy. Right now I'm just playing Dead Island. I started out back in middle school, as I think a lot of people would, at a younger age. Starting out playing on the trumpet for band, and that shit was fun. I liked what I learned. I was enjoying it all through middle school and things like that. I was actually out in the fucking country. I was out in the fucking country where basically they had all these hand-me-down instruments for all of us to be able to use. It wasn't very common for most of us to have our own instrument. I don't think many of us cared enough to fucking have our own instruments. But that was just, I guess. But as I moved out of the country, and we moved back into the city, back in Cyprus, I got into a little school called Libi. That was like the precursor school or whatever to Cy Falls. And over at Libi, all these people exclusively had their own fucking instruments. So I remember starting off with this broken ass hand me down cornet. And if you don't know what a cornet is, it's just like, it's basically a trumpet, but it's a little bit shorter and it looks a little bit goofier. I don't know if it sounds the same. I've always had trouble with like trying to get my trumpet tone to sound great, but all throughout middle school I had been at least like third chair or something like that. Sometimes I get first. Mostly I would say around like second or third chair. And like I actually enjoyed it. I tried hard, and I learned as much as I possibly could because it was just a lot of fucking fun to me, I thought. Before then I was, playing on a little tiny little drum set that I got when I was like 7. It was just like this little kid drum set, but I still had fun. And my sister, she had gotten a piano. Kind of wish I had gotten the piano instead, but it's okay. I was enjoying myself with music for a very long time. Shit, I remember something very sad to me. I was practicing Bruno Mars Grenade for a little talent show that we were having in elementary school. And I remember I was like practicing day after day after day, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. So that day I got a CD and of his song, and then I went up to my music teacher, and she basically was like, you're too late. Oh well. That just kind of like, I feel like that was probably the first instance where I like kind of just stopped myself from like continuing to sing much or whatever. It was, for whatever reason, just a bad experience that it just kind of really like let me down. But I guess I'm glad that eventually I got back into singing. That was really about when I hit high school, when my grandfather, he had given me his guitar because he was teaching me for a couple of years at that point, and then I was just like, I was just like wanting to play the guitar more, and he was just very nice enough to just give me his guitar. That's the one sitting right here. Ugh, this little fucking thing. This little fucking thing right here. Oh fuck. Shit. And I guess since then I was just like really like going hard and learning the guitar and learning more about music. That's when I more or less started singing. I didn't really get super serious about singing because I don't know. To me, I had to have like a safe space more or less to start singing. And that safe space for me was when I was about 16, and I just started to. When I was 16, I got a job at the Home Depot, and I was a cart pusher. At the time, we were able to listen to our music in our headphones and stuff while we're outside and pushing carts and shit like that. And I just started like singing with the music or whatever, and trying to like almost play like Guitar Hero or like Rock Band, and just kind of fucking do my best every time to like just sing as good as the singer is singing. And I just didn't where am I going with this? Oh yeah, so I didn't start singing until like really practicing on my singing until I was about like 16 or 17. Um, and I was getting better over the years. I wasn't like great. I was getting better slowly but surely. I finally I finally got to a point where I was like comfortable enough to like perform on stage and things like that. From like the my first ever instance of like doing a like just being on stage, not just singing on stage or anything, but being on stage was at fucking church camp, and that shit was a lot of fun. They had volunteers come up and do like improv, and I did actually end up singing during that improv, but it wasn't just to sing. It was just whatever the fuck, and it was just this weird like improv promptu practice thing where we would go and well, they'd have two people up and behind them is a line of people, and those line of people at any point would just be like stop, and two people will go up and replace those people and start on a new kind of set or whatever. So there was this person that there was a person that I had switched with, and we were just in like the weirdest position. Like whenever you stop, you have to stop where you are and then whoever comes behind you just takes that position wherever you are. So the person this girl was like in front of me, but she was facing the other way, and then I was just kind of like this right here because we had to copy the same fucking thing. They were doing some weird shit before, I don't know, but there's weird shit's about to, but even more weird shit was about to follow that, and we they were like, okay, start or go or whatever the fuck. And then she does this weird like turns to me because like I'm like a dude behind her, like it's promptu or whatever. And it made absolutely no fucking sense at all. But like she said nothing and turned to me and looked at me slowly as if I was like a creeper or something. And I just kind of went with it, and I was just like, I fucking looked out to the crowd, fucking like 300 fucking kids out there and shit. Whatever, I think more than that, some shit like that. And I was like, I can show you the world. And then everybody fucking lost it, dude. Everybody, it was just so out of context and it just did not make any sense, but people still loved it. And like, that was like my first instance of like, wow, that felt good to do. I had already been like a class clown my entire life and always loved to make people laugh and smile. It feels good, but like to do that on a large scale was just unimaginable. Like it's just unfathomable, you know. It was a lot of fucking fun, and I think that's what like really first like sparked me to like do shit like that. That was a lot of fucking fun. I wasn't on stage again for quite a few years. I was what was it? Oh, I was in my senior I was in my senior male pageant. I didn't win it, but I got an award for the most photogenic, whatever the fuck that means. That was a lot of fun. I sang Can't Keep My Eyes Off of You, which I recently did a fucking cover on. Go check that shit out, boy. Yeah, boy. Plug. And in that same instance, like I had gotten like I wasn't great. I wasn't singing good, and my guitar, dude. I swear to you, like this shit was so whack. Like literally a day or two right before the show was coming up, I somehow like there's a kiss right there. I literally lost or like fucked up my guitar or some shit like that. So I literally had to go and grab my little brother's fucking like bunk ass like kid guitar. Like it was a tiny 3/4 guitar, which means it's like 3/4 the size of an actual guitar, and it sounded like shit. It sounded so bad. No matter how good I tuned it, it was just a shit guitar. Period. It was like a $50 shit guitar. But I was still like, I was just like, fuck it, you know. And I still went up on stage, and I still had a good time, and I was getting the crowd like, fucking yeah, the whole crowd, and they're still loving it. I don't think that they cared that I was doing bad or whatever. If I did do bad, I don't fucking remember. my nerves were fucking like going crazy, but I just remember like the crowd's reaction, and that's just like something I just love to induce. It's just simply very enjoyable. And then once again, I waited a few more years until I got back on stage to like start like performing like in terms of music. That was my first like ever performance musically on a stage in front of a ton of fucking people. And I guess fucking what 2000. That was my senior year, 2018. That was probably like the same year. I think it might have been a little bit later, like after I graduated. I think like during the summer, me and my friends, the Carey twins, we we did that same shit that everybody in the fucking world does, and just sit there high as fuck, just rapping the fucking beats. And I just had like an idea. And I was like, yo, like next time when I come next week, let's all just like have a song put together, a little small mixtape just put together. Doesn't have to be made well or anything like that. Let's just have a song put together. And they were like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And I went back and I made my first track. I think it was Prestige Master. No, it was not good, but like it was my first like little project, and I was like very very fucking proud of it, that I actually got something done. You know, it was very cool, and I brought it up to my friends, the Carey twins, and they ended up not really making their own thing, which is fine. Like I'm like whatever, but check this out, like, and they're like, yeah, it's okay. But that was like the first time where I realized like I think I want to make music, you know. So like every like month or so for like 6 months I was coming out with like another like trash mixtape or whatever. And it eventually just evolved into what I'm doing right now, which is like full blown productions, you know. And I'm very happy I've got to this point. It's been a fun journey so far with my music. I've very much been enjoying myself this whole time, the whole learning process. And it's been a long learning process. I've been doing music since I was fucking 11. I've been doing this shit for 12 years. That's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about. But I've had so much fun the entire way. And, you know, it wasn't until maybe the past 2, maybe 3 years that I really, really doubled down on perfecting my. Still nowhere near where I want it to be, but it's come a long fucking way. It's come a long way, and I'm happy that I'm more or less comfortable with the music that I've been producing, that I've been coming out with. Because for the longest time, I really felt like I was majorly lacking. Now it's just more like, now that I have my foundations, it's more just fine-tuning my music, you know, my singing or my arrangement, or, you know, things like that, my melodies. Getting better at the guitar. This last few months, I haven't played as much guitar as I have been this year compared to the past, like maybe 3-ish years. I've been like really doubling down on like sitting behind that DAW and learning what the fuck EQ and compression is, and how much reverb to throw on a vocal, if I should throw reverb on a vocal, things like that. Automation, that's a fucking bitch, but is it so fun to mess with? It is so much fun to mess with, but automation can get out of control very fucking. But yeah, that's more or less what I'm about. Have a good day.